last time, we met a snake.
Yeah.
Snake.
Hey, what's up? It's me. It's me, the snake.
We met a snake, and you began to enter into the underground caverns housing the ruins of Gyla'moor.
Gyla'moor.
Yeah, it's the morning. It's late as you enter into this cave like a Kros and Maren. It's very dark and surprisingly wet, honestly, underneath the ground. You see a lot of stalactites with little pools of water kind of underneath them. And every once in a while you hear the drop of like water hitting things.
You said that we're going down into this place through like an old like mining rig?
It's just like kind of an open like sinkhole cave. Like
a quarry almost?
Like it's not man-made.
Or it's not man-made?
No. It's basically a sinkhole.
How's the air down here in comparison to like the town?
Currently it's damp, not stagnant, but damp.
Who's got our light?
Wait, who has dark vision?
I do.
I do.
I believe everyone but me.
Yeah, I think we made this joke.
Somebody with a light. Or,
I think it's literally just
Celsus has light.
So Celsus doesn't fall and split his little brain open.
It kind of winds around, almost kind of in a spirally, like...
Very, very much like an organic kind of path down.
Yeah. It feels very oval as you're like walking and like looking at the ceiling. It feels very much like strangely like kind of perfect oval. Like if it was carved away, it was carved away a very long time ago and nature has reclaimed it. You see as Kros and Maren kind of walk side by side, Maren kind of instinctually pulls out the staff that has been on their back.
On the way down, I do have something I wish to be doing. So, we know that the skeletal watch party comes back down. Is this the direction they come back? Do we know that? And if we don't, can I just ask... Why would Uryte know? What?
Mr. Keen Mind over here.
Huh?
Mr. Keen Mind.
What does that have to do with this?
He remembers things within the last 30 days. You would have to look at a map and think about it, but Uryte would just know. If you're consulting a map, yes.
I sure do have one of those.
Guys, what's this about a skeletal watch party? Things aren't about to get spooky, are they?
I just want to... Okay, it's a very simple question. Do the bones come back this way or not? Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, with that knowledge, I'm going to... Howlite's just going to say, do you three have any backup plans should something go awry down here? Are there traps along this tunnel for skeletons? Have you put any preparations ahead of time, that sort of thing?
You see Maren physically laugh. We don't prepare to take these things out. We simply avoid them.
I wouldn't mind
trying. Things go awry. We have made kind of a mutual pact, robbery aside, that we will, if we get caught and we cannot be saved, just to run.
Very well.
Listen, it's fine. Now that you're here, nothing will stand in our way, because you're a very resourceful group, so it seems.
Despite that statement, I feel like it's only reasonable to be prepared for the inevitable something going horribly wrong. Howlite's gonna take out a full-ass bear trap. And I'm going to look for a segment of the tunnel that is particularly thin. A choke point, if you will. And I'm going to wait for everyone to keep walking past and just sort of like signal, motion them past, and just be like, if something goes horribly, horribly wrong, and you're on the run from someone with a lantern, bring them back here. And they're going to set up the bear trap in the tunnel.
Alright.
You know how the bear trap looks like? Big jaws, right?
Yeah.
On the center of one of the jaws, I am going to take one of my gold bangles and a little bit of like tack from like plant matter, right? Something sticky, something tacky. And I'm going to stick the golden bangle on the top of the bear trap in hopes that if I'm really lucky, we can tag whatever is hit by this as well.
Alright.
Hey, Cat.
Yeah.
Varry at this point would be pretty familiar with the undead in this area. How smart are they? Like, a rough impression of, like, how smart they would be to get tricked by something like this.
Hmm.
If they would...
Most
if
of
they
them would
perceive-
fall for this.
Ah, okay.
But you've noticed that the one with the lantern, it has a greater amount of awareness.
He's a sharp little bugger.
I think it's also reasonable to say that I can cover it over with a little bit of leaves, so someone not paying attention wouldn't see it.
Cave leaves.
Minotaur skeletons probably also wouldn't be too affected by this kind of thing. Mostly because they're too big.
They're fucking huge, dude.
They're fucking rip.
And then they're going to take their map, and they're going to prick it with like a little bit of ink and just mark bear trap here so that everyone remembers, particularly for themselves, because they forget shit like this all the time.
You just like leave sticky notes everywhere.
No, I've got...
Things.
Dude, Howlite's got a notebook that's like basically filled with little scraps of paper sticking out of it. They look like medieval sticky notes. That's a great way to put it.
So, wait, are you trying to say that
Ah,
Howlite
yes.
is organized chaos?
Resourcefulness.
It's about a 10 to like 15 minute walk to get to the actual like caverns and ruins.
And is it a decline the whole way down?
Most of the way down. There's a point where it just hits like flat and straight.
Are we in a like enclosed space the whole time, or are there moments when it's like overlooking a cave precipice or something like that?
It seems to be enclosed the entire time.
Okay, that's very scary if they follow us in here.
Are there often stragglers that come through here? Like, should we be worried about talking?
Not often. There's been a couple in the time that you've been here, but they're mostly harmless as long as you're quiet.
Wow.
I haven't brought this up at all, but that thing that you gave me as a special thing that we were talking about, is so messed up.
Uh-huh.
It is so messed up, which
Morally?
I know,
or
mechanically-wise?
mechanically?
Morally, and I should ask right away. Can I do like a quick check to see if I like, before like coming down here, if I like killed anything recently?
Sure, just roll me a straight d20.
That's a
Just,
statement.
I'd be hunting.
Yeah, sure. You definitely found one. Can you roll me the 2 d20s then? Just so I
Alright.
can record the numbers.
I took some time recently to take a oh, fuck.
Oh.
You're stacked.
That's good. That's good.
Stacked.
Okay, so above board, I have guys, I have Portent,
The divination wizard ability that allows you to roll 2 d20s.
and then
substitute
replace
them.
rolls with those d20s.
Oh, you have
So
oh
divination
that
was
one. That's a crit at some point, and you've got a.
That's
Oh,
It's a fucking.
how long
crit.
would I be able to use these for? Is it just 24 hours?
Yeah.
Just kind of glancing back as we're going down. Varys just going to go. So I'd imagine you have questions, to say the least.
I have one. Your excursions down here. What do you make of this?
Just like, the ruins in general, like.
The sense of an impending catastrophe.
Kros is the guy to ask about that.
Very well.
I'm just here to study the undead.
I see.
Has Kros been saying much this whole time, or just kind of sternly and solemnly walking down here? He normally
Cross
does?
is more kind of jovial than Maren, but they're both very quiet.
Look, with whatever you did, it seems like you really just shook him up between you and me.
What, waiting for them to show up in their own basement? That whole shtick?
It's not super common we have anybody expressing interests in what we do outside of spreading rumors about, madman out in the woods, that sort of thing.
Yes, it seems the Crown and the Church in general have turned a blind eye to this whole ordeal. Do you happen to know why that is?
No, I was actually going to ask your paladin, Erevan, what exactly he thinks the whole deal with the church is anyway. I was actually hoping to gauge more of all of you, kind of like what your deal is. Why are you here? What business do you have?
Well, if you're asking about why the church doesn't handle it,
Something else you would have remembered slightly noticing is that the banners denoting that there are a town of Priam aren't up anywhere. Despite them being well within the Priam borders.
Makes sense.
well,
I wouldn't care for Priam very much if they ignored every single beck and call that we made about this theoretically very, very destructive undead problem.
Mm-hmm.
as far as I can tell from the churches, every church outside of the area doesn't understand how dire the problem is and doesn't send nearly enough support, so it always ends up dying. So they've ended up not giving any more because they just see it as a lost cause. And the churches in town don't have enough firepower to take it out.
Well, they're just waiting for it to die out so they don't have to pay for the problem.
I personally, speaking for myself, can't say that I'm disappointed that the Church of Palor will be giving us some space.
To answer your question, Varry, I am here out of curiosity. Primarily.
Kat, do I know what a Ganassi is?
You would have heard tales of them. They're not common enough to know exactly what they look like, but hell, that looks weird.
I do
look
not-
wonky.
I like
They are
I
blue.
believe I'm familiar with the race you belong to. You do seem exotic to say the least, like traveling here from afar, perhaps.
I came from the north. Are you familiar with the Blood Hunters?
No. I have not been up that way myself, no.
They are primarily of elvish descent, so as am I.
Oh, you're an elf.
Yes.
Celsus's eyebrows furrow.
Although I'm sure you're aware something's off, I'm not entirely sure why I'm so different. I'm trying to find that out, you know.
As soon as like a light goes on, Var's gonna be like, "Holy shit, you're blue."
And you... an off green. Yes. Colors are different. Pardon my asking, is your hair flesh?
The best possible way that could have been brought up.
These fucking questions. What was the immediate question I was asked? Like, are you or is that you? Good question. Is your hair flesh?
I don't believe so.
Oh my god, there's two of them.
Oh yeah. You bet.
Howlite like takes their like braid and like sort of just like pulls it around front and like undoes the a few of the ties on it and just like lets it woof down for a little bit.
If you were thinking I'd be playing one character that's not a complete crackhead, you'd be wrong.
Duncan does not play anything but crackheads, and I love it. Yes, you see, no, it's not flesh, just hair.
But what is hair exactly?
I love the idea of Celsus in the background just being like so done with these two.
I believe it's similar to a field of buckwheat. If the skin is soil, then the hair is the wheat. You see, over yours is like big mounds of dirt. Why is that?
Well, if I'm the soil, if my head is the soil, then I guess they're like kind of like the stumps of a tree, so to speak. So not quite soil, but not quite buckwheat either.
Middle ground between buckwheat and tree.
I think I used to know definitively what you would classify my extrusions coming from my head would be, but I've gotten confused now. I'm going to stop talking about this.
Tali just frowns and opens a book and writes down mounds of dirt on Varry's head. Look into, and then just circles it for a second.
Look into.
Look into.
Then Howlite's gonna forget this entire conversation happened, and then just wake up before Varry one day and just stare intently at the top of her head.
Listen, I keep my head covered most of the time.
Oh my god.
You can continue to walk. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get down to what seems to be like the large entrance of a cave. It opens up massively, and you're kind of out on like a ledge now.
Mm.
You can see sporadically a couple like low, like something glowing in the distance. Could be like some sort of like cave, like mushroom that has bioluminescence, or some sort of like magical light that has been put down here.
I just wanted to know if the bioluminescence was in range, because I want to go look at that.
It's kind of in the distance.
Kind of in the distance? Is it like down lower from the ledge?
Yeah.
Okay.
You would have to like actually walk and get into the main part of the cavern.
Gotcha. I'll wait till then.
And you can see kind of from the edge of the ledge, you can see the edges of like toppled pillars and roofs and some semi-standing buildings. And Kros and Maren start descending down this rope ladder that is like on the edge of the ledge.
So we're starting to see like structures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You've entered the ruins proper at this point.
We're getting close to the main deal of what's going on down here, everybody. So
Oh, good.
remain on the lookout for now. I'm sure if there were any more stragglers down here in these tunnels that our exchange would have caused enough noise to attract them, but I think we're good for now to make as much noise as we so please.
Lovely.
I've noticed you've been awfully quiet back there, Mr. Equinox Reserve. What do you make of all of this? What's your end of the bargain for getting involved in all of this, so to speak?
The others refuse to leave until it's solved. That's about it. I have a job that I'm getting to, and I will die without these ones.
Oh, hey, look, he does have some amount of self-awareness.
I've been very self-aware this entire time. If I do any of this alone, I will die horribly.
Yes, I've observed that you're all resourceful as a group. You're in the right scenario, probably well equipped to help us out down here.
Do not believe that teamwork is something we possess, but I'm glad you think so.
You just hear Maren kind of mutter under his breath, just, at least someone has self-awareness. Kros seems to not hear this at all.
I love Kros. Kros is my favorite.
Kros is gonna turn around and say, "Oh, so how have you enjoyed the past 5 minutes while we've known each other?"
Kros at this point has pulled out a notebook from his bag and is making some notes as he continues to walk, kind of watching the back of Maren's ankles from his peripheral.
So have any of you guys figured out what exactly we have to do to get the zombies to stop? You know, coming out of here?
Kros pauses, looks up.
Vari's nodding.
Kill them, of course.
Vari nods more.
If it were that easy, we could just ambush the party and they'd come back down in this small tunnel. There would not be much they'd be able to do as far as fighting goes. Are there more of them in the city?
Handfuls? They are few and far between. But the thing is that stopping us from killing them, actually, is the fact that they keep getting back up if they're within the city.
I've been training during our work down here. I've been trying to learn ways to completely obliterate undead flesh. And so far my research has been coming along slowly but surely, and soon enough we'll be evaporating them where they stand. There's not going to be any getting up from that anymore.
We think we have identified the thing that is making them get back up.
Yes, we've been working on that too.
It's somewhere in the center of the city. It's the thing. And when the undead returned, they mostly fled to there. So it's near impossible to get there while they're there, and it's a very long trek to get there while they're not here.
Is it possible to camp out in the city and to wait for them leaving and simply move once they've left?
Dangerous, but possible.
There's a lot of them that come down here every
There are several hundred.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
That this is the scope of
Like,
things.
there are an amount that leave for patrols, which is roughly I'd like to say roughly 100. But then as you're kind of walking, you do hear the vague sounds, other things moving within the city. They're just kind of off, and you get the kind of idea that within the ruins, walls and pillars and things have fallen to block other packs from getting through without a leader. But if the lamp person is here, they're much more dangerous.
So they're kind of inert when Lantern's not around, Mr. Lantern.
Yes.
Where would I locate myself above ground right now?
You're closer back to Lemstead, right?
Yeah, you're very close. You're either on the edge of Lemstead or... Actually, Tali, would you roll me a perception check?
Oh, hello.
As you're trying to figure out where you are in Lemstead, Howlite.
No, do I feel it?
You feel it.
Gotcha.
You've entered it's
the dome.
forcing yourself through a wall.
Gotcha. Oh, ooh. Okay,
it's much more potent down here.
So this is a question then, Kat. Oh, it's more. Okay, so they take that step forward. There's a visible rumbling shudder up Howlite's spine, and they just stop in place. On second thought, I will not be participating in any fights down here whatsoever. Oh.
What's wrong with that one?
They said there was something more to them than just being an elf.
Great. So let me guess. The center is that way, and Uryte points towards where the center of Lemstead would be.
You are correct.
And it's far, far worse here.
And that would mean that the ground is capable of at least hindering the dome.
In the air here is an anti-magic spell. Do you feel it?
Kat, what do we know about this?
You would probably be vaguely aware, but you did not know what this there's this magical sphere.
Okay.
But
is that
you
what that
didn't
is?
know what it does.
It doesn't like wind.
It doesn't like wind either, so no. Okay.
Just wind.
Specifically magic as well. So, as I'm sure, and Howlite's gonna step back outside of the dome real quick.
Man, that's so much more comfortable.
They just relax their shoulders. Here, let me demonstrate. And they're going to prick their finger, let a little bit of their magic into a vial, and hand it to someone else who doesn't have a wound, and then just try and seal up their wound on their finger, and just take that back through.
Who's taking it?
Hello.
You're taking it? Alright.
Hand it down.
As you step through where the barrier is, the vial shatters.
Yep.
Ooh, that's new.
It's all of the magic and the wind magic that was in the vial exploded. And then dissolved.
Third thought, I do believe you're going to have to continue the investigation for me. Howlite does a small bow. I don't think I should enter the city. I might metaphorically pop like a balloon. Or physically.
While that does sound terrible for you, it does sound rather interesting, you must admit.
I do not disagree with your interest, but it would get in the way of my goals a little bit.
Fair enough. You would not be as effective as a
No.
Have you had to deal with anti-magical domes in areas like this before? Is there anything we can do for you?
Have I experienced anything like this before, Kat? Like up north, maybe?
No.
Yeah, I thought so. They're just like, no, this is new. Normally, the air does not actively hate my existence.
How do you know that is going to kill you then? Come on, it's just a little bit of anti-magic.
Howlite just
completely-
looks at Varry like she's fucking insane.
There's no way just a little bit of anti-magic could completely just... Wait. Unless... Go another, like, motion for Celsus. Bring that light closer.
Hmm?
As like, the light actually, like, illuminates Howlite for once. To like... Genasi, huh?
You're the second one to call me that. What is that?
Something that's rather unexpected to see in these parts of the world, at least.
Explain.
Hey, you know how like when we first met up on the surface, you were to say the least a little bit taken aback at my general being of my existence of my whole deal. It's going to be kind of the same thing for you, to some degree at least. Essentially, a living, breathing fairy tale of sorts. That's all. It's nothing to concern yourself too much about.
I hardly think I'm a fairy tale. Although all of you seem perfectly, for lack of a better term, comfortable entering this force field, so maybe there's some merit on it.
Cat
Mhm.
above board, because I feel like Varry would be, even with her limited knowledge of the world, at least more knowledgeable about the Genasi than I am.
Yeah. But sure.
So it's like a thing with like Genasis, right? That they are like composed of like magic to some
Yes.
extent, of like elements.
The way that Genasi work in this world is that they are born when like cataclysmic events happen, essentially. So like volcanoes erupting, earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., etc.
You were in
Natural
accident.
disasters. And basically the soul of an elemental is within a mortal body.
Damn.
Okay, so to
I mean,
speak,
elementals are also mortal, but
so to speak, when Howlite goes through like any anti-magic of any nature, really, basically she's at risk of just getting her soul poofed.
Pretty much.
or completely
Right.
ripped out of her body.
Very, very fucking scary.
So yes, your trepidation upon entering the anti-magic is very warranted. Please don't.
Yes, I have no intentions of doing so at the current moment. While I do not fear leaving this world, I believe that this step could do something further. You are familiar with the cautionary tales of things worse than death. Many people of your disposition,
Definitely like chuckles a little bit at this.
many people of the flesh disposition, as I find themselves drawn to mortality, tied to physicality. However, there are things, such as whatever this happens to be, which might rend the other end of that spectrum, if you will. The unlife, the
things that are just kind of part of you, but you can't quite explain. I think I understand. Yes.
yes, say the primordial part of yourself, that sort of thing. So yes, unless we can find a way to dampen the spell, do you would not happen to be a practitioner of magic, would you?
Maybe not of the high-profile type of magic you may be speaking of now.
Then until we find a solution, here I shall stay.
You said that there's something at kind of like the center of the ruins down here that all the undead have been kind of like flocking to.
Mhm.
I'm guessing that is the epicenter of all the magical meddlings of this place.
Theoretically.
Varry's definitely assuming it is.
Understandable.
Probably a safe assumption.
And we haven't. Is the issue with it that we haven't found like a way to dispel it, or we haven't managed to get to it yet?
A little of both. You haven't been able to actually physically get to it or get within range of where you could dispel it, and then you haven't had the chance to attempt to dispel it, so you don't know how hard it is going to be to dispel.
Well, for the time being, I need to write on some certain revelations of the mind, so I can study the ruins from above while you go down there. I can assure you I am decent enough shot to assist should anything go awry from this here precipice. They, just gently heft their crossbow and just motion to, basically saying, yeah, I can just sit on the side of this little ledge and take shots at zombies if you need me to.
Howlite, you said that you feel, really uncomfortable?
It's... Before it was just a feeling. This, they kind of put their hand up, is like pushing against a physical barrier.
Does anyone else feel uncomfortable right now?
No.
So none of you others feel uncomfortable down here. Kros? Marion?
My name's not Marion.
Maren.
Sorry, new person also. I'm a little flustered right
Are you
now.
sure nothing's bugging you, Marion?
Are you under the weather?
I will punt you straight into the zombie.
I
It's
said
flustered
sorry.
you.
Not you.
Okay, good.
The
Sorry,
snake.
whenever someone says punt,
Do I
I
need to
typically
pre-
think me because I'm tiny.
Do I need to prepare an ailment? Cure? How it's looking at you like you're legitimately sick or something because you said you're flustered.
No, I am. You said up there you felt slightly uncomfortable.
No,
Down
there.
here.
I feel uncomfortable about 2 steps forward, yes.
Yeah, down here I feel uncomfortable for some reason.
Claustrophobic.
No, I don't get claustrophobic.
It could very well that we're approaching the epicenter of an object of undead worship, to say the least.
But wouldn't that mean that other people that have magic or whatever should be feeling this too? Points to
have we been able to cast down here at all, Kat?
You have been able to cast. There have been higher rates of it getting fucked up.
Yes, our spells can go wrong from time to time down here, but it doesn't exactly eat away at our confidence as much as it used to anymore.
Hey, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to just kind of study Uryte for a moment? Does it seem like he might have some sort of magic on him, kind of like I do? A little bit lesser, probably, but does it seem like he has something like that?
Can you give me a roll of some kind?
A roll?
Please leave
An
all
arcana?
magical items in the tray outside.
Howlite, everybody.
It's happening again.
Here we go again.
The barrier, you're close enough to the barrier that it's even starting to fuck with your vision a little bit. You're
Aw.
starting you're getting a little bit of vertigo.
They
from
just
being-
step back even further, just a little bit green to the face.
Man, I keep blinking whenever I try to see something.
Saw this. Oh, there's eyes in my eyes.
It's getting in my eyes, guys.
There's sight in my eyes.
Go away,
The eyes
it's getting
aren't
my
tall
eyes.
enough.
Oh, I have tall eyes.
Oh my, shut up. Enough of you and your tall eyes. And your
Everyone's
tall
got one of
lies.
them, Duncan.
And your
Everyone's
tall
got one.
alibis.
But is there a small place where I could go behind so no one can see me for a moment?
There's plenty of toppled
This
walls.
is a fuck.
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna check something. Away from prying eyes, take off my left glove and unwrap the bandage a little so I can see if my hand looks different.
Okay.
What's this? A Richard character with a fucked up hand?
Never seen that before. Was there an entrance gate or something? Does it feel like this was
This feels like a farther off point from a gate or anything. You feel like if there was a wall, it was completely obliterated
Okay.
at some point.
Looking at the collapsed building structure, right? Does it seem like the building's dilapidated from time, or does it seem like, I don't know, it's sunk into the ground a little bit? Is it kind of marshy? You said it was damp down here. I'm just curious, what type of wear and tear is.
Can you actually roll me investigation? Great. You notice this immediately as you like hop up onto the roof that your hands are now covered in like this ashy, dusty substance.
Ooh.
Oh.
Not normal dust, weird dust?
As you like kind of like how in depth are you analyzing this dust?
Oh, dear.
As in depth as I. Look, dude, I literally can't enter the city, so very, very in
Very
depth.
cool.
I have the
Okay.
time.
years of
volcanic ash.
corpse dust building.
Volcanic ash, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Don't lick
And
it.
the air doesn't.
thinking.
And the air doesn't smell like singed with brimstone or anything, right? This just seems very out
No.
of place.
Everything feels damp. It feels like
Okay, so how about
the ground above is very porous.
the architecture then? Does
Okay.
it match Lemstead? Or
No.
this area? Does it
Not
match
at all.
anything I've seen before?
Not at all.
Thought so. Okay. I'm gonna just write down city not supposed to be here in my notes. We found Pompeii. Thank you, Mikey.
I was gonna make that joke.
All right, cool. Yeah. So just as an FYI, now that they found that, very curious. I'm going to start making a very detailed sketch in my notebook of this building.
Cool.
All the masonry,
The
all
best
the
way that I
stonework,
can
everything.
describe it
Yeah.
is like late Grecian architecture.
Awesome. That's kind of what I was imagining. Okay. Lots of filigree, lots of fancy little bits.
Definitely, all the
Uh-huh.
above.
You mentioned like a plate being on each building of like a little statement, a little prayer. Is that on this building too?
If you like, it's pretty easy to find. If you like find the front side of the building and like lean over the edge, there's this large circular like indent
Mm-hmm.
with like the words engraved around it, and what seems like a depression. It seems like, if anything, like almost like a metal bowl was like set into it.
Gotcha. It's like a cast.
A little cavity.
Yeah.
Kind of like they had some sort of mechanism. Then they did this to every house, and it was just like reused.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Which seems very advanced, despite how old this
Noted.
place seems.
Yes.
Definitely noted.
So since they can't go anywhere, that's what I'll be doing, because I'm gonna go very in depth. So if there's any weird shit that you want to tell me later on about these buildings,
There are other buildings that you can also explore.
they are going to study the shit out of them. It kind of feels like this place was teleported here from somewhere completely different, and my thought is the dome might not have actually even been anything bad originally, but more of a like safeguard against I don't know, maybe we lived in a volcano or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if we've heard any stories about cities
yeah,
and volcanoes.
right.
I wonder what's for dinner.
Anyway,
Another
Macy's
idea
pieces,
that
obviously.
I've
Macy's pieces.
just thought of, that it could be a broken version of something that was meant to keep everyone in the city alive, and it technically is
Yeah.
still doing its job,
Ooh, I like that. I like that theory. That's a very good.
That's fun.
That's a fun
but
theory.
it's broken in some way, so it's just reviving the dead over and over and over.
Oh, that's fucked.
Because he mentions it's only when they're in the city.
Yeah. So if we kill them outside of the city, cool. But it also seems like there's some sort of sentient force behind it, you know? When Reine picked
Yeah.
up the lantern, I don't know what that's all
Yeah,
about
that's why I'm
There's
thinking it's either corrupted or broken or.
Or sabotage.
more. There's
Maybe
definitely more to
I like
this.
that. Sabotage.
It's a option. It's a thing that could be happening. I don't think it's the most likely thing that's happening.
yet. Yeah. So okay. That the architecture being fucked rules out the idea I had of the city sinking below from above. I don't think that's what happened. Something more fucked than that happened. It seems.
Didn't
Also,
quietly
ash
sink beneath the
is-
ash.
Yeah, the volcanic ash thing is very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird, especially if it looks like it's been accumulating
Right,
on
kinda like
high up
dust.
places. Like in such an enclosed space, how would that be? How would that be like accumulating like that exactly?
And there's no ash in the air. It just sort of seems like residual dust, right, Kat? Because the place is all like moist and all that.
Yeah, it feels like you get up there and it's actually like kind of like not muddy, but like there's a distinct amount of moisture within the ash.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense with the terrain, you know.
trying to figure this out, why don't we actually get down to actually figuring this out?
I agree with
Okay.
Mikey.
Pressing
go
one.
actually figuring things out. That's cool. I'm gonna sit and study a building.
Okay.
Tally's gonna
Scream if
become
you need me.
a classics major.
I'm going
Architecture major.
I'm going to become
Ooh.
exquisitely versed in the architecture of the Alethans and the Undercommoners, and I'm going to learn so much about
Do
housing.
you mean the uncommoners?
Yeah,
Undercommoners?
Undercommoners. I don't know
We
what.
already fought. We already killed Sans.
No. So, did I miss anything?
Not particularly.
Did you find anything interesting? I noticed you went off on your own.
Yes, I don't want to destroy or dismantle or whatever the thing that's in the center now that's creating this.
Ah, okay.
Why?
And why is that?
It might actually be something that I could study or get someone smarter than me to study. Looks at Celsus. That might actually help me with stuff I've been looking for.
Won't help us if we can't do that without dying.
Yeah, which is why, like, don't destroy it, but maybe toward the others can't use it.
We're working on. First step is getting to it.
First step is getting there. Second step is, well, it was going to be destroying it because it's the thing that keeps bringing the fucking dead back to life.
It also seems to be doing some other things as well, which are
Has-
interesting.
Would
Like-
you care to elaborate?
Okay, here's a question. Kros, how long ago did you stop using the cursed quill?
Days before I left.
And how long from then to coming down here did your mind become a little bit less foggy or addicted?
I don't have a sense of time.
He literally
Right,
can't
the man who
answer
thought
the
he was gone for
question.
2 weeks.
It's yeah.
Literally, I have been studying down here for apparently 20 years.
Yes. Okay,
And
well,
I have no idea what time it is.
So you have a side effect of that from. Anyway, yeah, and also
I
you might
could
just
imagine it
literally
could.
be bad with time, which is
Yeah.
also very possible. And sorry if that sounds rude.
It would have been
It's
probably
rude.
expedited by the addiction.
However, it definitely feels like whatever this thing is might be good at partially negating curses.
I see.
You did mention you were cursed earlier.
I never said that.
Can I roll insight about him very quickly saying, but I never said that?
It's
Even if it was a nat 1, you still won.
Yeah.
I'm cursed to be short, like in a sort of like, genetic sort of mishaps and all that things.
The heck are genes? No.
No, in fact, I don't.
I have a deformity.
Oh.
It's all I've
Just-
it's all
oh.
I've heard him talk about since we literally met.
Erevan in the back, like, oh wow, I feel like a dick now.
I didn't what you would call, like, I don't know, a midget?
He's just a little guy. It's fine. It's nothing else.
Anyway, I think we should study this thing and keep it away from those undead.
good luck with that.
Oh,
If the only way we have of reasonably in a reasonable period of time of shutting it down is destroying it, I'm going to destroy it.
well,
Listen, if
Nothing
you wish
personal.
if you wish to study it, we'd have to start by obliterating every last undead that flocks to it like moths flock to a candle flame. But you are welcome to join me
While
in
they're
trying.
in the town.
Yes.
you haven't been able to get to it yet. So for all
No.
we know, we might be able to just take whatever's creating this and move it somewhere else.
I don't think
I-
moving it
Picking it
would
up and
solve
moving
the
it.
problem.
Nor do I think Howlite would be very keen to be moving around with something that could just murder her if she got so much as a scratch.
I love that.
Normally-
At least without warning.
But normally, yes, I would say that. But if
I'm with you. I'm with you there, actually.
as you know, lead has anti-magical capabilities and such. It can block magic, it can block curse things, it can block a lot of things. If this is something that's small,
Yeah.
that could be moved, carried even, come back with a big enough lead box and we could move it away.
Kat, I'm getting the impression this is, from what we've seen of it, it isn't something that's just small that you can put in a box, right?
You
But
have
this is
seen it
like-
before.
Yeah.
You just cannot get to it. It is a ball suspended in between two like pyramidal pyramid like structures, and it is held like a fixed point.
How big is it?
Yeah, how big is it?
Fucking
Like a
It's a
softball.
fucking plasma ball.
Oh, we could put that in a box, no problem.
Would a
We could actually put that in a box.
Hey guys, maybe removing the engine artifact from its possible power source is not a good idea. Just a thought.
I'm going to take it and it's going to be
I
mine.
hate to inject a single brain cell into this conversation, but what the fuck are you planning?
If we're not able
Richard,
to
Richard is
extract
no
it
longer.
to study it, it'll
Richard no
probably
longer
be
wants to
destroyed,
destroy
which is
it.
what we want.
Yeah, that's what you
Either
missed.
way, it's...
Here is my side. If it is possible to take it and simply turn it off somehow,
Let's fight the
then
fucking
we should
power
do so.
switch.
If not, we should just get rid of it.
Didn't you mention there was an acid lake down here or something?
I understand that breaking curses is very good. However, there are other means that don't involve natural disasters happening.
That's Kros. Do you think removing the orb from where it's suspended would be do you think that could cause
Absolutely
issues?
terrible?
Yes.
I think it would be a terrible idea.
Or it could be a great idea.
I don't
This
think it's physically
this whole
possible.
place has seemed to be rigged from top to bottom with countermeasures to people like us coming in and messing with shit.
Have you ever met a paranoid wizard?
Points at Celsus.
Points
Yes,
at
exactly.
Celsus.
20 times as bad as him.
However, I would be interested in potentially trying to figure out what exactly the countermeasure to removing this orb would be, and then countermeasuring the countermeasure to get our hands on that orb.
Can we just break it?
Listen, the people who created Gyla'moor were not within their right mind, so the measures are going to be extremely painful.
Yes.
That can't be any more painful than I've already gone through.
I believe,
I disagree.
I believe you've you've heard
Resident
word already
paranoid
about
wizard
the,
here. I disagree.
about the literal acid lake. Maybe going and seeing that would put things in perspective of the nature of this of Gyla'moor, of the ruins down here.
Speaking as they were made by the crackheads who decided to try to become gods by rocketing themselves into the goddamn sky. I think that everything in here is going to want to kill us. Cross leads you a little ways more farther into the city, like kind of leads you off from the way you entered off right. And you come to like a man-made like tunnel that narrows like into a like rectangular hallway. You can fit about 2 people side by side down the hall. And he leads you. If you guys really want to see the acid pit, I guess we can go there. And that's a good
Come on,
person.
Cross. We have to show them the acid pit.
All right.
And
The one
can-
time I tried to get serious, and you're the one leading us to the acid pit.
I mean, it's better than other things that could have happened.
It's good to know where it is in case we need to kick a
Indeed,
cursed
acid pit?
lantern into it.
You suggested we go and try to box the orb that's kind of at the epicenter of this entire place. I think seeing the acid pit is going to help put things into to perspective for all of you.
How much this place wants to kill you? Fair enough.
Besides, it's fun and very educational.
And as you're kind of walking, you notice, like, this hallway slowly becomes, like, you see patches of, like, this green, dull green, like, glass-like crystal that kind of, like, is embedded into the walls in some places. And then you, across, like, takes a left, and you are suddenly in this big open room, and at the center of it is this large, glowing, yellow acid pit.
I like to imagine that we step into the chamber and Kros just goes like, all right, there it is, and it just turns around.
All right. Would you like to hear what I know about this place or anything?
Yes.
Yeah, why is there a giant acid pit? Yeah, that'd probably.
I'm trying to figure out why there's a giant acid pit. It's a very useful giant acid pit. What I know is Gyla'moor was created by the same people who run. It was kind of a colony of Aletha, the stupid bastards.
Yeah.
Other things. This city is about as old as, much older than what people would say when, like, Aletha disappeared. It's roughly like 800 years old since, based on what I can tell from reading things, etc. I was just going to say, be careful when casting spells. There's this thing, the crystals, if you look at the walls, there's crystals embedded, like, everywhere. They're apparently something that the people of Gyla'moor called residuum, and they seem to be kind of a processing plant for it, which is why there's a fucking acid pit behind me. But it reacts fucking violently.
Nice.
And I do not use the term fucking violently lightly.
Give one the Howlite as a prank.
As a little goof.
So wait, like, those crystals in the wall is residuum?
Yes.
Have you tried to take any of it?
I do not dare touch that stuff. All of my means of removing it are magical.
Same here, unfortunately.
The only person who could do it is probably Maren.
But we don't hire Maren for manual labor down here. You don't be like, hey, bud, how about you go perform some, go down to the residuum mines for us? No, that's not what we're after.
I mean, Maren's just like actually pipes up. I mean, I would do it.
You got more important things to do.
That is true, but if we found a use for it, I would do it.
So there's like crystals in the wall,
That's
right?
quite-
Yes.
Cool. I pull out my mason's tools.
I knew you were gonna do.
Oh, yeah.
Chip a chunk off, pick it up, and put it in my pocket.
Nice.
Nice,
This
nice,
is going to. This is.
I was very much expecting it to explode.
It's a non-magical tool. It's fine.
Chunk.
Not gonna lie, this sort of thing would be pretty awesome to have for mutagen craft. So, I would really love some.
I'll probably just give it to Howlite to figure out what the fuck it does.
Super awesome.
And Celsus. Just let the two braids figure it out later.
I wonder if it would explode if someone made of magic touched it.
I don't want to find out. We could probably figure out how to make it.
Yes, and at the same time also figure out how to make copious amounts of acid.
I think that's just the byproduct of creating the object.
Yeah, probably. Wait, how big are these things?
They can range anywhere from like small pockets of like that can fit in the palm of your hand to rocks the size of a expensive bust.
Crazy dumb idea.
Are you going to try to blow up the orb that is doing all of this out of place?
I was gonna say replace that orb, try to push it out of place with a orb of residuum about the same size.
The classic switcheroo.
The classic switcheroo.
I feel like that would explode very
I
violently.
really do not want to know what happens when residuum comes in contact with that thing.
What we have to consider is that there's not only us down here at risk, there's also everybody above our heads up on the surface who could potentially suffer if we were to set off any...
Large chain reactions?
Yes, any apocalyptic in nature shit.
Explosions.
Essentially, yes.
No, and I don't want to.
So please, for not only your sake, our sake, and motioning upwards, their sake as well, tread lightly for now.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything to harm those people. I actually like them.
Anyway.
It's glad to know that if you didn't like them, you'd be happy to harm them.
No, because there's always innocent people mixed in.
Sounds like their problem.
I love Harvard.
I
You can't tell, I just really want to study that orb.
You seem to be a
I'm
little
in the
bit
same.
obsessed.
I'm right there with you.
Call it the Draconic Heritage.
Yes, greed does run in the family, doesn't it?
Eh, to an extent, yeah.
I think that's a rather dismissive way to put it.
No, no, no. I mean, it's completely true. Like, some of us are very, greedy for knowledge, greedy for stories. Some are greedy for gold, and I hate those ones because they're bastards, typically. Unless they're mercenaries, then they're okay. Anyway, should we go towards the orb now?
Uryte, you know about this time. It is about 6 a.m.
What time do those guys typically come back?
You're asking the one without time perception, and Maren, who doesn't talk a lot.
Cat. Hi.
Hello.
When do they tend to come back?
Like 8 a.m.
Okay.
We've got a couple hours.
Well, if you can keep track of that for us, we have a little over an hour left before we should start considering leaving. So if you want to sit around for a little bit while and state some sort of ambush, if you are feeling so inclined, I'd be willing to give it a shot.
Well, I mean, we know that lantern carrying zombie's the one that controls them, but trying to fight him down on his own turf is kind of a bit of
Yes, it'd be like
Bad
fighting
idea.
a dragon in theirs.
However, fighting them outside of their turf, like in the forest, would be a better option.
On the way down here, it didn't seem like your companion Howlite was too afflicted by the anti-magic that's prevalent in this area down here.
Oh yeah, no,
I'd say the
that's
tunnels would be an ideal place to orchestrate said ambush.
true. And the thing does
Especially if we
typically
have especially if we have what's all everything they're attacking being under protection from good and evil spells.
Kat, if we were to set up an ambush, is the way down here like a straight shot, or are there like side routes?
There are some side pockets as like you and Kros have like investigated the tunnels that there you can tell that this was like a mine of some sorts originally.
Yeah.
That got covered and then, a sinkhole happened. So there are some offshoots, but they are kind of covered up by rocks, so it's not hard to find them, but it's a little you have to look for them.
Cross. You can do illusion magic, yes? Similar to what you did to the tower?
I mean, yes.
We could use that as a way to hide in plain sight as well, since zombies are kind of,
Stupid.
from our experience, stupid.
That could definitely work. I don't have a lot at my disposal currently, mostly because I prepped nothing today for that.
That's perfectly fine. Let's see.
We'd have to do it tomorrow.
Eh,
Ambush tomorrow?
ambush tomorrow might be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Something to consider, yes.
Plus, okay, does anyone know if that lantern is magic, or is it just weird curse bullshit?
We've been probably like avoiding the lantern to the best of our abilities, right?
Yes.
So no. If anyone, have you mentioned that you've had a run-in with it?
If
I
not,
I
I'm about
believe
to.
we did, not to your character though.
We've been doing our best to keep a watchful eye on the lantern bearer, but we haven't engaged in any direct study.
Whatever you do, don't touch it.
I feel like that's
And if I were to touch it, what would happen?
So you would probably end up like the little kit that he adopted. Kind of like does a head nod towards Erevan. Just she touched it apparently and got like voice in her head. If I remember what you said correctly.
She got possessed.
Okay.
It blew off her
Sounds-
hand.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
he
I was just
did.
about to ask.
That's how we got it off of her.
And the only reason I was asking if you knew anything about it is I can attempt to dispel any magic of it, but if it's not magic, then it probably wouldn't work. And if it's too strong of magic,
Have you look?
it's
Apologies for sounding maybe a little bit too brash. Have you tried slapping it out of its hands? Actually removing the lantern from the undead.
We haven't gotten too close to the undead, mostly because we didn't really want to start a fight in the middle of town with a bunch of undead.
fair enough. Tali's messaging me. Tali, this is bad
Come
shit.
up my notes.
Oh, I know, but I know she's gonna do it.
You know she's gonna do it.
And I know I want to do it. So...
Oh no. What's Howlite doing?
Richard
Don't
has
worry about
given
it.
me a
If
prediction.
we weren't gonna find that chokehold tunnel, I'd say let's take some of this wall residuum and use it as trap explosions because of magic, but
Potentially also.
I think we're
could-
more likely to use magic than the undead at the moment.
I'll say the only reason I was saying this might be a decent idea if we weren't using the chokehold tunnel is because it's possible that the explosions could destroy the weird lantern.
We could use magic to levitate the lantern and get it into this pit over here. Nod towards the acid. Like, think that might take care of it?
You mentioned lead could potentially
Yeah, but I don't have a
Used
big
to
enough
us.
lead box for that.
Or a leaden fist.
However, Erevan, you said she was possessed, yes?
Or something close enough that I couldn't tell the difference. Why?
Is there anyone that has a way to stop possession from happening?
Wait, I have that.
yeah. I was
Protection
about
from
to
good and
say
evil.
didn't you
Provided that the
mentioned
creature is undead, I can do that.
If that would work, then we could have someone that's fast, and it could take a beating, grab the lantern and run it back here, and dunk it in the acid pit.
It'll only last about 10 minutes.
Oh, you gotta go fast.
No, we just use it. We do a relay race kind of thing, where it's the baton that we
Oh.
pass off.
If we could do that, how long did it take to walk from here to there?
45 minutes, and that's walking. We'd probably be running with zombies on our tail.
Oh, definitely. Who's the fastest out of all of us?
Howlite.
Let's spend the rest of the time that we have down here calculating our respective land speeds. That sounds like a good use of time. We can figure this all out once we actually wrap up the tour and get out of here. We'll have
Yeah.
time between now and tomorrow when we actually want to conduct the ambush itself.
Because it's a concentration spell, if I drop concentration, you're getting possessed.
No, I got this. Put Uryte on my back with with both of the shields that we got. You just dual wield shields and blocks.
I'm not worried about you getting hit, because protection from good and evil makes you have any undead that attack you, because I would say undead, because I assume it's an undead thing that is in
I'm
the
glad
lantern.
you're not
You
worried
have
about.
disadvantage to being
That's-
attacked by
Mikey,
any undead creature.
I'm glad you're not worried. I am.
Fuck.
To be fair, it only takes one
It
nat
takes
20 from
one.
the enemy.
Two, actually, if they have disadvantage on
It still
every single
takes
attack.
one hit.
Okay,
They
that's
hit me once, and I'm fucked. So
True.
Sticking
I've got
bag
a
of
really
holding.
funny idea, guys.
Uh-huh.
Bucket of holding.
Y'all know that. Okay, so the lantern, right? We know that another zombie's gonna come and try and pick it up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We cut the hand off, and I take my immovable rod and shove it into the lantern and activate it. They won't be strong enough to pull it away. It'll just be
Zombies-
stuck there.
You said
No.
they're attracted
That's
to the
not the
lantern,
worst
right?
idea.
Yeah.
We could suspend the lantern over the acid pit.
Oh my god! With the rod! Because the rod can just float!
True.
Holy shit, guys!
And we just lure all the zombies because
That's
they're all
not a
trying.
bad
That's a
idea.
great idea!
If they're gonna keep trying and grabbing,
Zombie boiler.
Zombie boiler! Zombie boiler! Planned zombie boiler!
Wow.
Holy
That
shit!
room
I think that's
going
probably
to
our
be
best bet.
biohazard.
Problem
No,
is
yeah.
getting the lantern there would
Okay.
be the hard part.
Yeah, so
Like,
we have to find. Okay, guys, I have a plan and a half for getting the lantern, let me tell you.
Uh-huh.
I've been talking to Kat in private on something. I think we can get the lantern. We need to then take the lantern, get my immovable rod to shove it into it somehow, right? And I could have my speedy mutagen on. I don't even need to worry about getting cursed because I won't even touch the lantern. I have a high enough dex that I can just slip it in, grab it, keep it away from my body, run, and then jump up above the acid pit and lock it in above the acid pit.
how do we get you
Are you gonna
back
get
from
down?
above the acid?
How am I gonna get down? That's fun.
Gaseous form potion.
Or
No,
levitating.
no, no, no. No gaseous form, not down here.
Oh, true.
Does anyone
You're
have
right.
feather fall or levitate?
I have
probably
a
buy-
levitate every time. I can just levitate and
there
kick
you go.
myself off of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
that's not a bad plan.
I need at least one team defense. I need Erevan there in the off chance that when I jump, I touch the lantern. Probably.
Also, can I just say,
Protect him from
this
evil and good on
plan?
you. You physically can't be.
You know how sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes some ideas just have an energy.
Yeah.
This plan has the energy of, if it works, we're going to be telling this story
Yeah. No.
for
This
years.
is so great. They are the unknown factor.
I'm just imagining like Howlite on a horse, Uryte on the back, holding shield, but also playing music the whole time.
It's gonna be
like,
godly.
The harmonica
I
in the
Howlite and Uryte have become like a Banjo-Kazooie type duo.
Weird.
I want to play a platformer starring you two,
Oh
where
my
you're in the ocarina.
Oh, backpack friend.
He does play an ocarina.
Oh my god.